Hi, Dr. Tice. How are you?
I'm very thankful today.
What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful because I get to work in a terrific high school with really wonderful students and parents and a really supportive community, and I'm real thankful for that.
What is your title and role here at ADM?
Here at ADM, my official title is College and Career Transition Counselor. That means that I'm a certified counselor, but I work mostly on getting students to the next step of their lives, whether it's 2-year college, 4-year university, military, entrepreneurship, family business, or so on.
What does a typical Tuesday or Thursday look like for you?
On Tuesdays and Thursdays, when I'm here at ADM, my day usually starts with meeting with students one-on-one. I work mostly with seniors, but often freshmen, sophomores, and juniors will come in too, but my main focus is seniors because they're starting to get close to being done. And then I teach a work-based learning class for Block 4. So I do preparation work for that class. And then I do the class Block 4, and then I have to record all of my activities on my computer, so I keep everything updated that way. And then I also organize all of the college and career and military visits during Power Hour. So then we do Power Hour, and then I continue to meet with students after that. It's a pretty busy day, but a fun day.
What do you do on the weekdays you are not at ADM?
When I'm not at ADM, I go to Perry High School, and I'm at Perry on Mondays and Fridays. And then on Wednesdays, I go to the DMAC campus. So I'm actually employed by DMAC, but I serve ADM High School and Perry High School.
What is your favorite activity to do on the weekends?
I have a couple of favorite activities on the weekends. I'm a pianist, so I love to practice my piano. I spend a lot of time with my piano on the weekends. And I also do a lot of baking.
What do you like to bake and play on your piano?
My favorite thing to bake is homemade bread and cookies. And they are yummy. And on the piano, during the pandemic, I practiced and learned original music from the original masters. So during the pandemic, when we couldn't, be out and among people, I learned Rachmaninoff, I learned Beethoven and Bach and Massenet, and some Chopin.
Do you have a favorite day of the week?
I don't. Each day is my favorite day.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am the oldest child in our family, and I have 2 degrees from Iowa State University, and I have my doctorate from Oxford University in behavioral science. And so my emphasis is on why do people behave the way they do. But my special interest is our teenagers.
How would you describe yourself?
I describe myself as someone who is borderline perfectionistic, and I believe in completing every job that I start, even when it's hard and even when it takes some time. And I believe in persistency and consistency. And if I find I've made a mistake, which happens often, then I correct it and make amends for all involved.
What was your first job ever?
My first job ever I was a paper boy when girls could not be paper boys.
Oh.
So I delivered the Des Moines Register, and my first name is Patricia. And I sent in my application to the Des Moines Register. We lived in Southwest Iowa, so I sent it into the Des Moines Register and said I want to be a paper boy. And I got a letter back from them, because in those days there was no social media, you know. It was kind of the dark ages, actually. But they sent a letter back that said, girls can't be paper boys. And I was devastated. I thought, why not? I don't get that. So my dad said, let's do this. Your name is Patricia, but let's have you fill out another application and use the word Pat. They'll think you're a boy, and they'll give you the paper route. And it worked. And I carried the paper route for 4 years.
Wow.
I would get up at 3:30 in the morning and ride my bike to deliver the papers. So I was one of the first girls to be a paper boy.
That's really cool. Did you grow up with any pets?
We always had a pet. We always had a Dalmatian dog. And our dogs were always deaf. My great-grandfather was the inventor of the Budweiser Clydesdale hitch team that you see everywhere. And he raised Clydesdales, and the Clydesdales always had a Dalmatian dog with them. Oftentimes, when the Dalmatian puppies are born, by the way, they're all white when they're born. They only develop their spots when they're growing through the puppy stage. But often, one of the Dalmatian pups is deaf. And it used to be that they would just put the deaf one down. And my dad said, no, we're not going to do that anymore. We'll take the dog home. So we always had Dalmatian dogs who were deaf. And we loved them, and they were the best pets. And King Dog, that was his name, could hear vibrations. So he really, was a great pet.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any pets now?
I do. I have 2 fur babies, Prince William and Prince George, and they came from Animal Rescue. And we had to adopt them together because they're biological brothers. So they said, you can have both, but you can't have just one because they need to go together. So we do. Prince William and Prince George, they're now 6.5 years old.
Are they Dalmatians?
They're kitties.
Oh.
They're orange kitties. Of course, I can show you pictures sometime if you want to see it, because they are adorable.
What are your passions?
I have a few passions. My top passions are helping people, and especially young people, become the best person they can be, and to help make a contribution to society. Another passion is helping people know and feel that they belong to whatever their group they're trying to be a part of, to help them know that they belong. And another passion is just loving my family.
How did you end up in Adel?
My husband and I got married 10 years ago, and he was living in St. Louis, and we just decided that we wanted to move to Adel. We'd heard a lot about what a wonderful community it is, and so we bought our dream home in Adel, and lucky for me, I get to work at ADM High School.
Who has been the most influential person in your life?
My dad. He died in a farming accident about 22 years ago, and it's really interesting that the pain is always there. I deal with it okay, but sometimes it just is still hard that he's not here.
What is your favorite thing in your office?
A student, when a student is here. Are we gonna walk?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's walk.
What is your favorite thing in your house?
My Steinway piano.
How do you feel about snow?
I love snow as long as we don't have to scoop it, scrape it, or pay for it to be scooped, or drive in it.
What's something you are successful at?
I understand you're talking about who's picking you up today, right?
I am successful, well, I believe that I'm successful at finishing what I start, no matter what that is.
What is something that has challenged you?
Graduate school. It was hard, but worth it, but hard.
What is the best food you've ever had?
The best food I've ever had? From scratch Italian food.
Do you like to cook?
I do.
So what's the fanciest thing that you've ever made?
What is the fanciest thing I've ever made? Yankee pot roast with roasted vegetables. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Why did you decide to go to graduate school?
Because I wanted to know as much as I could know about human behavior and student behavior. And I wanted to push myself to see if I could do it, if I could really open up myself to be able to learn that much. And I was told that I probably wouldn't be successful in graduate school. So that was a big motivator to me too. I just wanted to go ahead and do it because of that.
What was your experience like at Oxford?
It was an unbelievable experience to be in a university that is over 900 years old. And it's the place where penicillin was invented, and it's the place where Shakespeare lived nearby. And the British tutorial system was a completely different way to learn. As an example, my first assignment was to read 35 books, and they had to be done in 2 weeks. It was hard, but I did it.
How did you decide what to major in college?
I knew it had to be something dealing with human behavior. So I took it up a notch and studied behavioral science and stress to try to understand people.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Never give up.
Which are you more likely to get on a cold winter day? Hot chocolate or apple cider?
Actually, it'd be hot tea for me.
Oh. That's
See
good
my
too.
tea kettle over there? I have, I lived in England, so I have hot tea every day. But I love hot chocolate and hot cider.
What is the first thing you will do when you retire?
When I retire, the first thing I will do is buy a new piece of music to learn on my Steinway.
What do you love about the time of your life you're in right now?
What I love about it is every little piece and how it all works together. Despite the fact that there might be sometimes some frustrations or things don't go right or the car has a flat tire, things like that. But what I like about it is the ability to just roll with it, to just keep moving forward.
What do you miss about childhood?
Someone making my meals for me and not having the responsibility of paying the bills. I miss that a lot. Oh, and one last thing, most important, naps. Naps. I think naps are, we need to change that whole thing around. It's grown-ups that need to nap, not kids.
Do you have a favorite movie?
I have two favorite movies. My two favorite movies are My Fair Lady and Pretty Woman. I love Julia Roberts.
What is your dream vacation?
My dream vacation is to be in a warm place in January with water nearby, wherever that is.
If you were not working in education, what would you be doing?
Probably working as a journalist. I've written a book. I'm an author. My book is used in several colleges across the U.S. So I would probably spend my time writing.
What do you love about your job?
Everything. What I love the most is watching students try new things and be successful at them.
What advice do you have for seniors who are going off to college in the fall?
My best advice would be to do something that helps to trigger your passion. And no matter what that is, if it's a skilled trade, if it's an apprenticeship, if it's a four-year university, if it's the military, no matter what it is, something that shows your passion and that you can make a contribution back to the community in which you live in a positive way.
What was your favorite subject in school growing
English. Hands down, English.
up? What is a hobby or activity that you did growing up that you still do now?
Gardening. I'm a master gardener and I love gardening. And sometimes, because we live nearby, sometimes I have a couple of the seniors from the ag class come and help do some spring cleaning in my gardens because we have 10 acres, so it takes a little time to do it. And I give them a little extra money and we have a fun time doing it.
What kind of books do you like to read?
My favorite books are biographies and autobiographies because I think it's really interesting to hear what people's childhoods are like and I'm interested to know how did Beethoven live as a child? How did President Biden live as a child? I just think it's interesting. How did Maya Angelou live as a child? And what made them be the person they are today? I think that's really interesting because we can learn from that.
What sparked your interest in going into education?
I had a really great experience myself in education. I thought it was an exciting place where you could do new things and try new things and learn new things, and just having a book. Of course, a lot of books are online, but there's nothing better to me than holding a book. I just loved school, so that's why I chose to have my career continue to be in education.
What was the most interesting class you took in college?
There were a lot of them, but I think one of the most interesting classes was a class I took at Oxford called hermeneutics, which most people have never heard of. But what it looks at is the adaptation skills of people to the world in which they live.
Would you rather drive or fly when going on vacation?
Drive. I'm a nervous flyer.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
My homemade vanilla ice cream. That's my favorite.
What is the best compliment you've ever received?
There have been a lot of them over the years, but I think one of the nicest compliments comes from my husband when he says, "I love you just the way you are." You know, when I'm feeling down and tired and hungry and crabby, I love you just the way you are. And I love it when I hear parents say, "You made a difference, thank you." That's nice.
Are you a sports fan?
Absolutely, I love sports. I have 2 degrees from Iowa State, so I love watching Iowa State football and basketball. And watch them on television and have worked with the athletes. So I do like sports.
Have you ever been to Disney World?
I've been to the original Disneyland in Anaheim, California.
What was your favorite ride?
I
Or
didn't
thing?
go on the ride.
What was your favorite thing to do there?
My favorite thing to do was to go to the gift shop. I always love the gift shops.
What are your college degrees called?
My first 2 degrees from Iowa State, the first one is a Bachelor of Science. That was my 4-year degree, and then I got my master's degree, and my master's degree was a Master of Science in professional education with an emphasis in school counseling. So I have an endorsement to be a counselor starting at age from kindergarten up through the end of college. I like to say birth to death. And my Oxford degree is in behavioral science with an emphasis on stress in the workplace.
What is challenging about your job?
There are a couple of things that are challenging. One is that to try to get students to understand that as you finish your high school degree, you always need to have a plan for what's next. And some students don't understand that. And so that's a hard part. The other part is just keeping up with all the data entry. I have to enter data all the time. Like because you came to visit me today, I'll have to write in, Kelsey came to visit today.
What are you going to do for spring break this year?
Spring break this year, we'll stay home. We're not big travels during spring break, and I have new music I'm trying to learn on the piano, and that's going to be my focus. And to be able to sleep in a little bit too is fun.
What station is your car radio tuned to?
My car radio is tuned to 60s Gold. It's a Sirius XM channel.
All right, last question. Have you ever been water skiing?
I have been.
Thank you for your time and answering all these questions.
Thank you, Kelsey. I'm so happy you came in today.